Hello everyone, my name is AR and we're here with our first video. Yes, so today we're comparing two different games, GTA and Red Dead 2. So before this video starts, I have to state that this is only my opinion. You don't really need to agree with me. And yeah, I am going to be considering 5 different aspects. There's gonna be gameplay, story, characters, and I'm not gonna be considering the graphics because come on, you can really see that Red Dead has way better graphics than GTA. I mean, it's so obvious. I don't even need to state this. So yeah, and the last aspect is going to be online. So I hope you enjoy.
Not yet.
Okay, so both Red Dead and GTA 5 have tremendous gameplay. And you can't argue with that because it's a Rockstar game. Everything has to be perfect. But I think GTA has a better gameplay. And okay, just stop right there. I need to explain this. Don't go crazy in the comment section because you see, Red Dead is so focused on being realistic that has forgotten some fun aspects of a game. Like, why do I only need to carry 2 rifles with me? I know it's realistic, you have to pick them off your horse, but it happened to me so many times that I was in the middle of a mission and I needed a rifle, and I looked back and saw it was on my horse and people were shooting at me. So that kind of takes away the fun aspects of the game. But in GTA on the other hand, you just draw weapons out of your ass, you just have an RPG ready, and it just comes out. You don't know where it comes from, but it makes the game more fun, it makes it more smooth. Okay, so moving on to transportation, I mean we can all agree that GTA has a better way of transporting characters in. And why is that? Because in GTA you have cars, you have helicopters, you have planes, but in Red Dead you only have a horse and a carriage, and if you're lucky you'll find a boat. I mean, it's not really something to say that Rockstar did a bad job at this, it's just the era that Red Dead is in it's kind of a slow era. And don't get me wrong, okay, but there's one thing that Red Dead has the upper hand in, and that's the hand-to-hand combat. I mean, it is shown in the first mission of the game that the hand-to-hand combat has improved so much. And come on, in GTA, the hand-to-hand combat is not really something to brag about, it's normal dodge and punch. But in Red Dead, on the other hand, it's so good, it's awesome. Just enjoy this clip for a second.
I'm gonna break your neck! What's going on? This guy just jumped me! Oh, did he now? Sneaky little bastard. Should I kill him? No. Not yet. Find out what they're doing here. And where Colm is. Oh, this son of a bitch will talk. Where's Colm O'Driscoll?
Okay, this is gonna be a bit hard saying that which game had a better protagonist, but I'm gonna go with Red Dead. And I know GTA has 3 protagonists with different personalities and everything, but hear me out. Red Dead has 2 protagonists, one is Arthur and one is John. First of all, Arthur has a way better personality than all of the GTA protagonists. And here's why, because in GTA you have to divide your time and give it to each character for a certain amount because you have to finish their missions, but in Red Dead you have to play constantly with Arthur, and it kind of makes a different kind of attachment. I mean, come on. We know Arthur's motivations, we know why he does things, why he's in the camp with Dutch, but we don't really know why is Trevor such a psycho and he's killing people, and we don't really know what's Franklin's problem with his girlfriend, and what's his problem with his aunt. So this is why I think Arthur is a way better protagonist than all of these, because we get to spend more time with him, we get to understand him more. And even if we were gonna say John Marston, I think John has a really good personality too, because because we played with him for like, I don't know, 10 hours in the epilogue, if I'm not mistaken. And even then, we understood his motivations for building a ranch. And I think the story of two people having a bad life and still doing good in that life is more compelling than the story of three people who just want more money. And as you see, Dutch and Arthur and John, they're running away from their past. They were outlaws, they were trying to start a new life. But in GTA, the characters we meet, they have their life. They just want more luxury. They just want more money. So, this is why I think Red Dead has better protagonists, because a main aspect of a protagonist is its motivation. And I didn't really see that much of a good motivation in GTA's protagonists.
It's okay. We're bad men. We ain't them. It's okay. Get on. We'll keep you safe until you figure out what you want to do.
Документы.
What?
Паспорт давай, ебарь, мам.
Okay, so in terms of characters, I think this decision is going to be pretty easy, and it's going to be Red Dead. And I mean, I don't really need to explain anything, because in Red Dead, side characters play a major role in the story. Like, the only problem that GTA has is the number of interesting characters. Because the only interesting characters in GTA are Lester and Devin. I mean, there are a lot of characters. I mean, there's that Dave guy, and there's that... Who's that woman you pick up trucks with? With Franklin, you do her mission. I don't know her name. So I'm just saying that these characters are not really interesting, but they're shown to you. But in Red Dead, on the other hand, you have so many interesting characters, and they play a vital role in the story. Like, for example, let's say Dutch, Javier, Micah, Sadie, and all of them play a major role in the story. But I mean, some of these guys' missions that I just mentioned were just fillers to make the story longer for GTA. So this is why I think GTA has less interesting characters, and the fact that they don't play a major role makes them even less interesting. And don't get me wrong, these characters have personalities, but the only thing is that they're not important enough to be acknowledged. Not the only thing. In Red Dead, all these characters knew each other and had an attachment to each other, so it made it more interesting. But in GTA, you play as three different protagonists, and these protagonists know different characters, so that just kind of divides the connection. And even the characters who have connection with each other are not as interesting as the ones in Red Dead. Like, for example, imagine Tracy and Jimmy's relationship to Dutch and Hosea's relationship. I mean, it's completely, it's not comparable. Not at all. So, I think Red Dead won this round by a long shot. Okay, so moving on to the online. This decision is going to be a little bit easy, and for several reasons. First of all, I have to state that when you're playing an online game, the story doesn't really matter that much because it's an online game. It mostly the main aspect of an online game is how fun it is. Like, for example, when you're playing Elder Scrolls Online, do you really care for the story, or do you care for how fun it is? Or when you're playing Destiny 2, you don't really care about the story. You mostly care about the gameplay. And the only thing that GTA had an upper hand in was the gameplay. Not only that, the only thing is that GTA Online has been around for a long time now. So when you're in the game, you always have something to do. You can do the biker missions. You can go to a hangar. You can go to a bunker, and there are a lot of activities you can do. Like, for example, you can play Deadline. You can do GTA Heist. You can do Doomsday Heists. But in Red Dead, the only thing you can do in Red Dead is play the story. And I'm gonna be fair. Red Dead's story, online story, is pretty interesting. I mean, when you're playing some online game, you don't really pay attention to the story, but this one is pretty noticeable and it's pretty interesting. So yeah, I think the story is okay for an online game. It's pretty okay, and some of the missions are really fun. One part is that you can actually decide, and when you decide like to be a bad guy, you'll get different missions, and when you decide to be a good guy, you get different missions also. You can play the bad missions with that character and play the good missions with another one. and that is really good. But still, when it comes to online, I don't think it can beat GTA, because GTA's online is on another level. As I said, you have a lot of things to do, you have a lot of activities to do, there are more players in the session. You see, in GTA you can buy tanks, you can buy jets, you can buy hydras, you can buy all sorts of different vehicles, cars, anything you like. But in Red Dead, the only thing you can buy is a horse, a better gun, and clothing. And there's one thing that I'm gonna complain about, and that is the levels in Red Dead. Like, why do clothes have levels on them? Like, why is that? Like, I don't know if they want us to play more and be interested in leveling up more, but come on, this is not an MMORPG. In an MMORPG, you can't wear a certain armor because your level is not high enough. But this is Red Dead. The clothes don't give you armor. They're just there for fun. They're just there to make your character to look cooler. So I think that's one of the things that really bugged me about Red Dead Online. And the economy, god damn it. I remember paying $192 on a gun. Single gun. So yeah, I think GTA has the upper hand in online.
I saw your face, I'll remember you. You forget 1,000 things every day. How about you make sure this is one of them?
Okay, in order to have a good story, you need good characters and a good protagonist. And the only thing that GTA was missing in these were these two. And I'm not saying that GTA has bad characters or a bad protagonist, I'm just saying that in comparison to Red Dead, it has nothing. Okay, so the story of GTA is, it's about a group of people who try to do a bank robbery, but they fail, and two of them are shot and one of them runs away, but one of the people who was shot is alive, and he took all the money and starts living a new life in Los Santos. The other one suspects this and comes to see that yes, he's actually alive with a new fake last name, and he sees that he's doing heists again with some new crew members. But Red Dead story is way simpler. Okay, so the story is about a group of people who rob a bank. Wait a second. Okay, plot is way more similar than I thought. Oh god. Like what? Does the Rockstar CEO has some kind of keen interest in robbing banks? Like whenever I was young, I wanted to rob a bank, but I never could. So I'm gonna put them in my video games. And what's he thinking like this? Okay, a group of outlaws rob a bank, and they're trying to run away from the law and trying to start over again. This story is way simpler than GTA's story. But the thing is, imagine if Dutch wasn't the leader of the Vanderlyn gang, or if Micah wasn't the traitor, or if characters like Javier, John, or Bill weren't in the game. I mean, it's the characters that make the game interesting, make the story interesting. Like, even if you have the best plot in the world, even if you don't have interesting characters, you're not gonna be able to show that story really well. Because a good story needs good characters, and Red Dead's characters are flawless. Well, maybe not flawless, but they work with the story pretty good. So this is why I think Red Dead wins, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new and want more content like this. If you don't want more content like this, still subscribe. I don't know, just hit that subscribe button. And bye.